Hello, and welcome to Gwinnett County Victims Community Conversations, a brand new initiative under the new leadership of our District Attorney, Ms. Patsy Austin Gatson. The purpose of this initiative is to discuss different topics of life that help educate the community, spread the awareness, and reduce the gap between the community and the resources that are available for them. I am Uzma Khan, the Director of Witness Victim Program, right here in Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gwinnett County Community Conversations. I am your host, Uzma Khan, the Director of Victim Witness Program, right here at Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office. Today's topic is amazing. It is opioids, the issue, a big issue in our community, and we have amazing panelists today. I'm going to go ahead and request our panelists to go ahead and introduce themselves and tell us about their affiliations. So we'll start on this side.
Okay. My name is Megan Vargas. I am an Assistant District Attorney in the Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office. I am in the Drug and Gang Task Force.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Judge Angela Duncan. I am with Gwinnett County Superior Court Division 11, and I've been a Superior Court judge here for the last 2 years. And prior to that, I've been a judge in Gwinnett County for the last 22 and a half years.
Wow. A lot of serving the community. Nice. And here?
Well, good afternoon, Uzma. I'm Tori Holcomb. I'm a woman in long-term recovery. It's been over 6.5 years since I've used any substance to change my life and change my reality. I'm also a drug court graduate as well as a step-by-step graduate.
All right.
And I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you.
My name is Bridget Hall. I am actually partnered with Veronica Butler that we are housing people in a program called Step by Step Recovery. I have been dealing with over 40 years within the fields of addiction and recovery. Here at Step by Step Recovery is a nonprofit organization that houses the homeless is dealing with drug and alcohol and substance abuse. And what we also have at our program is mostly with people who come to us is within the volunteer. Some people come with family and friends who need help for their loved ones. We also have where the courts mandate participants to enter into our program. We are housing both male and female, and we also have the opportunity to teach people to change their lives so they can have a new way and other tools to go to be able to address their situation with the opiates and any other addictions. So they have the opportunity to go into a life with a different outlook on being able to have a productive change of life.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's a big need of such services in our community. So I'm going to start with the first question from you, Bridget. What are opioids?
Opioids are a class of drugs. I'm explaining it in 3 different forms and different ways, but it comes out with the same results. It is actually given to individuals through medications that are prescribed for pain medicine, which the body develops dependency, towards those pain prescription medicine. Unfortunately, some of those prescription medicine winds up in the street being sold, and those who are abused those pain medicine. 2, there are using of illegal opiates that are out there, and these opioids are what you would call like heroin that are called street drugs. The 3rd is also fentanyls. Fentanyls is also a synthetic opioids that is known to, and this is a thing that a fact that I need to share is that up to 5 times stronger than heroin with the fentanyl. There's also up to 100 times stronger with the fentanyls for morphine.
So there is a lot out there. There's so much variety. There is so much that's hurting our community. So right at you, Megan, now that we've learned what these opioids are, I think we've just touched the surface.
Yes.
When the cases come into the judicial system, you prosecute these cases. What are the processes and procedures that are in place for processing such cases, which you deal with? Tell us about your experience. And is there any difference in prosecuting cases in possession of opioids than street drugs?
So under that question has a few parts, so I'll answer in a few parts. Under
Please.
Georgia law, different drugs are classified differently, and there are, according to statute, there are prescribed penalties for different quantities and types of drugs. And so we follow that, and there are different options within prosecution, because what we do is also look at the circumstances of each case. We treat individuals who are users of drugs differently than we treat individuals who are selling, manufacturing, trafficking.
Okay.
And so that lens informs how the cases will go, and the options that people can have in terms of how to resolve their case, or if they are convicted or not.
Okay, so there's tons of layers
Yes.
in the prosecuting. It's just not simple, one size fits all. You have opioid possession, we're going to treat you like this, or this is how we're going to prosecute you, or if you don't have it in any other drugs. So it's tons of processes, I guess. One has to understand
Yes.
the layers. So coming to the layers and knowing that Gwinnett County has drug court, and we have the honor of having you with us today, which you serve as one of the judge of drug court. So tell us about what goes on there. What is a drug court? Maybe a lot of our community members do not have the understanding of that.
Sure.
And what kind of programs do you guys refer people to when they come to the drug court?
Sure. No, I'm very passionate about drug court. In Gwinnett County, we are privileged to have a number of accountability courts, and drug court would be probably our primary accountability court. We have two divisions, both my division, Division 11, and Division 10, Judge Warren Davis. He is also over drug court. And drug court is an accountability court that is a 5-phase intervention program for adults who enter a plea or are convicted of one or more nonviolent felonies and who are having trouble remaining clean and sober. And so what drug court does is it breaks down over a 21-month period into 5 separate phases. So each participant that is involved in drug court goes through all 5 phases. In the first phase, they have to report every Friday to court. They have to attend at least 3 separate treatment meetings per week. They have to call in every day to a drug test line. It's random to see if they need to drug test that day.
Okay.
Also in the beginning, they test a minimum of 3 times per week. And then they are managed by a case manager, but they really by a team. And I think that's the most important part with drug court, is that we are providing citizens in the community that are struggling with opioid addiction or any type of addiction with really a toolbox, if you will, that provides support and treatment to help them navigate the road to recovery.
So as they go through the steps, if they fail any step, what are the consequences? What's the process from there on?
Sure. So throughout all 5 phases, there are certain. This is actually the handbook, and there are a lot of
evidence.
there are a lot of rules and regulations that they have to follow. Like if you miss a call in for a random drug test, that's actually what we call a sanction.
Okay.
And so you can come in front of the court for a sanction. It can be anything from not showing up to court, testing positive on a drug screen because relapse happens.
Right.
To even if you were to abscond and take off and not come back. Those are all different types of sanctions. A sanction can range from anything from a verbal reprimand to incarceration.
So let's see, going through these processes, would anyone get a second chance? If you go all the way to the end and you just drop at the very end, would a person have a second chance?
It's really going to depend on the type of violation.
Okay.
Anyone that during the course of the program is charged with a violent misdemeanor or a felony offense or a drug possession or a DUI, it is a mandatory termination.
Okay.
However, if people are giving many chances for positive drug screens, for missing meetings, and for other violations, other sanctions, then they're given chances. But we have rehabilitative process to apply also to those, such as attending more meetings. We can instruct them to go to individual therapy instead of just group therapy. I love to make them write essays, to make them think about what's going on and what they're doing.
Well, sometimes when you write and when you read, you understand what is going on around you, and it's a great way. Talking about opioids, I'm going to come back to you, Bridget, on tell us about what are the signs of dependency on opioids. It's several questions in one. And what are the treatment programs that are out there, and are they even successful? And how can a person, let's say we have our viewers that need help, what is the process for them to reach out to those programs? And is there anything for low-income families?
So I'm going to take each one of those questions accordingly. And the first one you asked is, what are some of the signs? I can give you a list that can be from here all the way to the door, but I'm going to break down some of the things that you can look for as if you are dealing with someone that you know is actually you doing things abnormal. These lists that I have here is one, within the difference of social circle. When someone is no longer dealing with their loved ones or families or friends, you see they're changing of their peers and they're actually hanging around different types of people. You also have change of behavior. Those are another signs to be looked for. Lack of work. What happens is most people do not want to go to work or get up and be productive and being responsible to showing up at work. Depression is a big key also. When you're seeing that somebody is withdrawn and they're actually staying more to themselves, or they're not doing such things as hygiene changes. When they are not taking care of themselves, they're not, getting up and want to bathe anymore, as well as they're not taking care of brushing their teeth. Simple things that you see that normal people do, that these are different signs. You also have where isolation. A lot of people go into isolation and they do not like to deal with anybody at all. Now, they also have non-motivated, where they are not motivated to do anything on a daily basis. They're nodding also too. That's one of the main signs you see. And while they are nodding, there are a lot of times they are actually irritable and they find themselves where they are scratching a lot. That is another sign that is. Staying in the bathroom, and giving you an example at my program there, we have a time frame that when a person that is go through our program, that's in our program, they have to be in the bathroom but a certain period of time, because they're in there for a long time. They're actually usually doing something, or substance abuse or any type of opioids that we're talking about they're using. So that's another sign is them spending more time in the bathroom. We also have the slur speech. When you're communicating with somebody and their slur is not normal how they normally speak, we also have their slower movements that they do as what they move around. Those are another signs that you can look at. Sleeping at odd hours. Those are signs that it's also apparent that there's a change that's going on too. And the main one where we were just talking about is getting in trouble with the law. Those are just 15 that I named, but I can go on and on. So it's so many numbers that I think that we can add on as we go on dealing with talking about addiction. So these are different signs. Now, the other question that you asked me as well too is that what is a recovery process, and recovery process is different for everybody. The road to recovery is different for everybody. We have to where they can address what we need to do is address the needs of a person as a whole. That's the first thing we need to look at. We also need to try to get them into detox as well too. When you get them in detox, it can clearly, you have the opportunity to deal with that person. We also have different other facilities. They have other alternative, which is MAT, the MAT, medication assistant, of treatment. Some facilities offer that as well too. We have counseling and therapy that's well needed. I also make this very clear that such program as where you have Judge Duncan speaking over there as long-term treatment plans, and treatment courts is a well-rounded way, as well as programs such as ours, a step-by-step, that is a long-term program, because they didn't become, addicts overnight. So we need to have something that they can process through, because recovery is not going to be also overnight. So there's a problem out here that is very serious. So we have to come up with a solution, and that is some of the solution that it is possible for people to go seek help. So, the last question that you asked me was, is it, affordable programs out
Yes.
there? There are very few. But the programs such as Step by Step Recovery, we are a nonprofit organization. We are low income. We have assistance with a lot of the community helping us to be able to fund so we can better give needs to those who are seeking the help. Through drug court, that's low income, and they also have the opportunity that what she was speaking about, consequences. Some of the consequences can be where they utilize our program that goes hand in hand, that we're able to help individuals, and the cost becomes very affordable. We are very, very proud to thank some of the communities, such as the community as a round-off organization. We have EMC organization. We have a Lawrenceville co-op that they help monitor, so we can keep the costs down low at Step by Step, so we can offer that low cost to individuals who is seeking for recovery. And it has been very successful. You asked the question about the success as well too. Going through Step by Step, if you have the opportunity, for those who have entered, our success rate. It's a hard thing to say, what is the percentage? Well, we know this because the data that we keep, that 1 out of 3 are actually successful in recovery. And we know this because we are hand in hand, and also such as Tori is sitting here, we know where their everyday life in years to come as being graduates. And that 1 of 3 is considered 33%. And that is a good percentage. So if our program has 33%, and then you have drug court, and they are actually dealing with the same as helping people through addiction, and they get 1 out of 3, that is 33%. If you add 33 and 33, you got 66%, and that's more than half. And that is showing that we are actually tackling this addiction, and the opiates, epidemics is out here, as well as any other addiction that's out here. So that's a high percentage to look at. I do say this, that we have to continue on, because there is a problem, and these are some of the solutions that does help towards that success rate of addiction.
So I definitely agree that we do need such programs and much more into the community to tackle these issues that are big and they're daily happening. So we can discuss the issue, try to talk about the resolutions, try to find out the processes in the court. But when you're on the other side of the counter, the story changes. That's when reality hits. And we are blessed today to have Tori with us. Last but not least.
Right.
So Tori, tell us about your struggle. Tell us about your story. Tell us how it impacted you and your family. And thank you so much for your courage to be with us today, and with our viewers to share your story.
I'm truly grateful to be here to inspire someone that's maybe struggling, going through what I previously went through, because I know that me not speaking out loud keeps them suffering in silence. And by sharing my story, I just hope it hits one person that needs it. So,
Amen.
I am, January 15th was 6 years in recovery from opioids, specifically heroin, meth, and Xanax. I like to emphasize on that because the reality is drugs are bad and drugs are hard, and the toll they take on your body. But I want someone to be able to identify too. So I struggled for over 12 years with substance use issues, and it all began from a knee injury playing softball. And I was prescribed opioids immediately. I had torn some ligaments in my leg, and then at that point, that was the go-to. And then we go through the rehab and the surgery and everything like that. Once that happened, everything seemed okay, because I was on this medication, and I was never told that it's addictive. It was actually, there's less than 1% is what specifically was told to me. It's not addictive. It's okay. So fast forward 9 months later, I found myself being taken off these pills. And I found out what withdrawal was. I remember that day specifically because I had never felt such pain in my life. I was whitewater rafting in the cold water and I was sick. I mean, violently sick. And at that point, my friend was like, well, I have some left over. You can just have mine. And I was like, I just want to feel better. That's all I want. Little did I know that would just speed the process on to getting worse and to harder drugs. And then in 2012, I was arrested for stealing from my work. And I was like, I got to try recovery. I've got to try something. This is killing me. I was scared of going to prison. I was scared to be in jail. And that's where I went into my first actual program and detoxed and got out. And within 3 days, I was back at it. The place I had went to, I told my mom, we'll see you next time. And they said it takes so much for somebody to try something different and to get it. And so that was really defeating for me. And when I heard that being spoken, it kind of claimed that over my life. And so I continued to spiral out of control. And I want to say in 2014, I was arrested again. This time it was my first possession charges of heroin and methamphetamine. And I was scared because every time I ended up in jail, reality sunk in. You take out those drugs and you take out those chemicals and you're able to digest what's really going on. And it's a different reality than what you're perceiving when you're high. I went to a treatment program again, a 30-day treatment program. And I tried everything when I got out, but then I eventually fell off again. In 2015, February 24th, I overdosed for the first time. And I landed in Gwinnett County Hospital. And at that point, I was on probation. And they were like, we're going to go ahead and take you in because you're on probation. And now I see that as a godsend because I stayed in there for 3 months, got my head back on my shoulders, and decided I was going to plea into the Gwinnett County Drug Court Program. My family had enough. They were not letting me come home. They were finally setting boundaries, which I needed all along. So I pled into the Gwinnett County Drug Court Program under Tom Davis. He's an incredible man. And when my family said I couldn't go home, I was like, well, I've got to go somewhere because otherwise I'm going to sit here. And so that's when we found Bridget and Veronica at Step by Step. I was so nervous. I was terrified because I didn't want to make any move because I felt like everything I made a judgment on was wrong. And it had been for so long. It was drug driven and selfish at every point. So I came into Step by Step and I remember my dad dropping me off and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I really learned how to become a woman, and I learned how to get up and make my bed and learned how to be accountable to others. So eventually I became accountable to myself. And drug court, it's hard, but it was worth every second because I needed all of the accountability I could get. Even if you gave me a little bit of room, I knew I was going to take it. And I did. And I did in drug court and at Step by Step. I did relapse 9 months in. My best friend and I lived at Step by Step, and she didn't make it from the relapse. And so at that point, I stood out of my bunk bed in that 4-man room, and I said to myself, I'm not getting high again. And I said it loud. I don't know who heard me. I didn't care. And I'm in it. I realized my mortality, and I knew one of us had to get it, so one of us could share the story. Because if I lost my life, who's going to share about her? And that's what I did. And I pushed forward, and I really dug into NA and AA at that point. Even though it was mandated, it was like, this is where I need to go. This is what I need to do. I really started working on the childhood trauma and the stuff that was underneath that was debilitating me and wanting me to escape the reality. I graduated Step by Step first, and that was in June of 2016, and then May of 2017, I graduated drug court.
All right.
I can't stress enough what these two programs, have done for me. They gave me my life back. I'm able to be an amazing mother and role model to my two children. My oldest was young enough to where he doesn't remember those things, and I am truly grateful for that. I was able to get off probation early. I was very grateful for that. I worked in the recovery field for 2 years, and then last June I decided to come home because I knew that I didn't come into recovery just to continue pouring out. I needed to pour into my family so that this generational curse can be stopped at me and that it doesn't continue to move forward. When you're going through those dark times, you feel as though you're never going to get out of it. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. But what I can tell you is that my biggest test has now become my testimony, and now I'm able to share with others that are suffering and that are hurting, and then have that pain, whether it be family member or an actual person that's struggling with the substance. It's a family disease, and we need to address it at the core and outward if we're all going to recover and move forward. But it's not a death sentence.
Wow. Wow, I'm speechless.
Oh,
I mean, all power to you.
Thank you.
And not everybody is that strong.
Right.
But by hearing you out, by listening to you, there is hope.
There is
Absolutely.
hope.
It just needs a little strength and a lot of support
Yes.
of each and every one of you guys.
Absolutely.
And then we have people who can get out of this. So at the very end, I would ask each of you to give a one or maybe two word of wisdom to those who are watching us right now. And they are in it. They see all dark.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see hope. And they just don't know how to get out of it. Or they might even think there is no out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what would your word of wisdom will be for them? So we'll start with Megan. I'm looking at you, so we're going to start there.
So I would have maybe just a couple. The first is that you are worth working on, you're worth saving, and there are ways out. So even in the darkest moments, and even though I come, like we said, from a point of prosecution and we're viewed in a certain light, sometimes we're humans and we care about the people in our community very genuinely. And so I would urge anyone that is struggling with any kind of addiction issues to reach out, even if, as we've heard, you've done it before and it didn't work. Eventually, your time can come where it will work. And so we just, that would be my hope.
My message would be is that you're not alone. You're never, ever alone. And I know for those that are struggle with the disease of addiction, that it is, as Bridget said, it's very isolating. But you are not alone, and to please reach out for help. You can go to any hotline and make a call, find a meeting, reach out to Step by Step. There are many different recovery agencies. Gwinnett County has the Gwinnett Coalition and some other programs that are available. Please reach out for help. You are not alone. You don't have to suffer alone. Because I've found in drug court and in Step by Step that if you reach a hand out, somebody will take that hand from you and help you up.
Thank you. All right, Tori.
I would say reach out as well. Pick up the phone. Let someone know you're struggling. Unfortunately, with the stigma and things like that, you have to realize there's more people in your corner than you know. There is probably 28 million people that are in recovery or affected by addiction in some capacity. Pick up the phone, send a text message to your friend, say something. You're the one that's got to make the initial, and then they can grab the hand. They can help you out. I know Gwinnett County has many amazing things. We do have Navigate Recovery Gwinnett. They're great for peer support, and you can call them, and they'll talk one-on-one to help you with options or just to speak with you and to walk you through this journey. You're not alone, absolutely not, and that's it. I mean,
All right, Bridget.
You said one word or two words. I'm going to start with a word and end with that same word, but it's going to have to be a phrase because I would say the word hope. And you're not alone. And don't give up. And as long as you got breath in your body, there is hope. That would be my word of wisdom to any individual that is facing any of law that they have broken that has to do the underline of addiction, opiates, that they are actually with the epidemic that's going on out here, people who are just hurting, mental health. I mean, that is something that people need to understand, that there is hope.
That's true. Special thanks to all of you for your time, sharing your expertise, the resources, and the story. And very special thanks to all the viewers for joining us today on Gwinnett County Community Conversations. Stay tuned till our next episode.